about is making that football team better. And so I've gotten to talk to Coach Tomlin over the last few weeks too, now being with Raheem and the relationship he has with Mike Tomlin. But I know they're going to have a really good relationship, and they're going to do everything they can do to make that team as good as they can.
Your relationship with Raheem, what have you learned about him in the last 3 weeks, and I guess how exciting is that for you?
Oh, it's really exciting. Every single day, every single moment, whether it's a meeting in the morning, text at night, whatever it is. Everybody talks about collaboration, but it's really collaborative. And he's put together an excellent staff, and I would say we have some real smart coaches that are very collaborative. And the communication has been outstanding. And so it's been very exciting. It's been great working with Raheem and that whole staff.
Coach, Terry, how did the February scout meetings go that you all were in the midst of and wrapped up, I guess?
They were outstanding. The meetings went really well. Cal Smith runs those meetings, and the fun thing about those meetings it's just based off of film, right? So we basically had the football games played, the season played, and then you had the All-Star games, and so it's just based off film, and obviously we go through the makeups of the player as well, but we haven't gotten anyone else involved. We haven't gone through the combine and the pro days, and it's just about football, and we stacked the whole board based off of football, and it was, again, the meetings were excellent, and it showed that this is a really, really strong draft. My man, that jacket is out. Let me see that, man. This dude is a stud. Look at that jacket, man. That's impressive. What's your name? Giovanni. Of course your name's Giovanni. Look at you, dude. You're a stud, man.
In addition to the quarterback situation, what are some of the other personnel issues that you all are faced with?
Yeah, and Led, I wouldn't look at any position and say that we won't add to that position. Again, we feel really good about our offensive line and where we are there, but you always want to build strengths. You want to add to strengths. And the way we go through this process, whether we're talking about free agency, whether we're talking about the draft, we want to add good football players that fit the makeup. Because, look, when we're sitting here last year at this time, you may not have thought that we're going to go after a safety in free agency. But when you have a player, it's unique to have a player like Jesse Bates available that fits the makeup profile. He's a multiplier in terms of the makeup and the character, and he's a good football player. So let's add those players, regardless of the position they're at. So I would say that we need to improve this entire roster, and we're not going to close any doors at any position.
Two things. How's Grady feeling? Good update on Grady Jarrett. And then how much business do you try to get done? You've seen in years past, like a lot of teams try to move back, stay up, move up. They try to get that done so they know what's going forward. Do you try to work business in this league as well?
Yeah, Grady's excellent. I mean, he's going to be – we all know he's going to be ahead of schedule, and we don't put any specific dates on this is when. But when you know Grady and know the type of person he is, the heart, the head, everything he's about, he's going to figure out a way to be on schedule. It's more so holding him back and make sure, even with Grady, we try to manage him, and you hold him out of practices sometimes during the season, and he's like a little kid pouting when you don't let him practice. That's just who he is. So Grady's going to be he's going to be ahead of schedule, whatever that schedule is. So we feel good about that. And in regards to getting business done, look, you basically you have your plan, right? And then you know what you're going to attack, and you're going to be aggressive. But that's why we have all these conversations, because you have to be light on your feet. You get a lot of information when you're talking to GMs, when you're talking to agents. You learn about a player that, hey, this player might be available, this player might be cut, and so you learn a lot too. So we always have a plan, but it's not fixed, right? You have to be flexible, you have to be adaptive. So sometimes things can happen quicker, and sometimes they take more time. You got to be light on your feet.
With such the fourth overall, can you just talk about expectations and how much faith you have that you can become the guy that you envision?
Yeah, we have a lot of faith in Kyle, and obviously he was dealing with an injury this season, and look, he fought through and he finished the season, but now he's healthy, right? And he can have a healthy offseason. And we're very excited about our new tight end coach, Coach Koger, and obviously Zach Robinson, our offensive coordinator, and we're very excited about them. They're going to get the most of the players in this building, and we know Kyle's going to put in the work and get the most of himself, and we're going to continue to add, but we're very excited about Kyle having a great offseason and having a great year.
Would you just quarterbacks in the first round and the last round? When you look at that, and just more generally your career,
I would say it always starts. It's always here and here, right? It's the neck up, and it's about who you are as a person. You talk about those two quarterbacks. Obviously, they're different skill sets, and yet it's the makeup that makes them special. And I think that will never change. There's a lot of, whether you're talking about the draft, whether you're talking about free agency, there's a lot of different flavors, right? There's a lot of different skill sets. There's a lot of different physical attributes. But what never changes is it's about the makeup and the character and the worker. And these guys, there's no more pressure outside of the head coach. There's not a position where you have more pressure than you have at that specific position, right? And I don't care where it is. I don't care if you're talking about a high school quarterback these days, college, NFL, that's a lot of pressure, and you can't predict how a person's going to handle that pressure. So they have to have the right things in here and in here to handle that. So I would say that's what hadn't changed. How do you assess that? Yeah. It's everything you do. The scouts work really hard. We have a great scouting staff, and they're in the schools. They're talking to everybody. So we go through that process. It's what you see on the film, right? It's us spending time with them, as much time as we can with them here and other places. So you just gather as much information as you can, and you put everything together. So, but it's not a perfect science. And if someone had the perfect thing that you have to look at, then obviously they'd be a genius. And so it's not a perfect science, but that's what we're working hard to do, assess that.
Why do you think it's the hardest position to evaluate?
It's just what we said. There's not a position that has so much pressure on it than that position. There's just so much pressure involved in it, and there's a lot of different factors to it. You know, it's obviously not easy. I mean, you take 32 teams, and everybody's always trying to do the same thing, so it's not easy.
How much does your success in 2024 hinge on getting that quarterback position right this year?
Yeah, we got to get it right, and that's real clear. We haven't shied away from that. We know that's critical to get that position right. But it doesn't stop there. We have to get the right quarterback in, and we have to improve this entire roster and get ready to roll this season.
Specific to the quarterback position, how do you weigh short and long-term goals that they're, with a veteran versus a rookie, adding to that position? How do you view that target for this Falcons?
Yeah, we won't close any doors. It can be a veteran, it can be a young player. We won't close any doors. It's about getting it right, whatever that is. And the cool thing about this year is there are a lot of really good options in all areas. There are good options regarding veterans, UFAs, possible trades, the draft. There's a lot of good options. The critical part is to make sure we get it right.
What's the biggest red flag in terms of something that would really scare you off of a prospect?
It's all about the makeup. It's got to be the right person, because we've seen different players do it different ways in terms of skill set, in terms of background, where they came from. We've seen a lot of different guys do it different ways. You have to nail the makeup.
Very many conversations with Desmond since the end of the season and how those progress and his makeup or not. Talking about makeup.
Yeah, just like any of our players, we're in constant communication with players on our roster. So no different than Desmond or any other player. We've had constant communication with them.
With the running back position, having Tyler Algier in the 4th round the year before, he rushed for 1,000 yards. Why did you find it important to draft Bijan Robinson, bring that to the offense?
Yeah, just kind of what I was talking about with Jesse Bates, right? You add a guy like Jesse Bates because of his makeup and the skill set, and you get excited about him. And that's our mindset with any position. It's not about drafting a running back. It's about drafting the right guy and adding the right guy. So a guy like Bijan, we believe he's the right player. The makeup, the skill set, everything aligns. And when you get players like that, they're multipliers. They make people around them better. So we don't get caught up into what the specific position is. We're just adding good football players. Bijan's rookie year? Yeah, he did some really good things, and we saw it. He did some special things, and yet there are areas that we're going to continue to improve with him, just like everybody else. So, hey, did some good things, showed some really good things. It comes down to winning, and we didn't win enough. So everybody's looking in the mirror and saying, what can I do better? I know he's doing that. What can I do better next year to help this team win more? But I would say he had a great rookie year, and I would say he's going to have a better year in 24.
Yeah, Terry, there are 11 players from Georgia here, Bowers, and I'm guessing County on top, Nick Bullard. How do you assess that group, the contingent from University of Georgia this year?
Yeah, I won't go through each one of them, but obviously it's a good group. I mean, that's one of the better teams in the country. So they put some good football players. Obviously, Kirby knows how to pick them coming out of high school, and he knows how to coach them up and get them ready to go. So we're obviously looking hard, not just at the players on Georgia's roster, but there's a lot of players that are from Georgia. And I'll always say this, and it's true. I'm at a lot of park ball games and with my kids, and I don't know what they're putting in the food down in Georgia, but they've got some unreal athletes, males, females, because I have my daughters play sports too. It's crazy what they do there. So we love our hometown guys.
Going back to the coaching search, I know you're very happy to land with Raheem. I was curious, there's not many teams to speak with Coach Belichick.
Yeah.
Where did his vision align for the Falcons with your vision, and where did things differ?
Yeah, just like Arthur Blank said in Vegas, that, hey, we went through that process with Coach Belichick, and he was willing to work with the staff and be collaborative, and he was ready to coach. And so I would say there were great interviews with Coach Belichick and with a lot of other people. And it came down to Raheem, and we're very excited about Raheem moving forward.
What was it about Zach Robinson's ability to develop quarterbacks that made him an attractive commodity and offensive coordinator?
Yeah, great question. And Zach's the developing quarterbacks. Look, he played quarterback, right? Not just Zach, but T.J. Yates, our quarterback coach, played quarterback, and we have other guys in our group, Ken Zampese, DJ Williams. We have a lot of really good guys in regards to the quarterback part, but it's not just about that. It's about the offense as a whole. And when you hear Zach talk, you can hear how intelligent he is, but not just intelligent, but how forward-thinking he is. So he's not going to be fixed on a specific thing that he's always done, and we're just going to do it this way. He's going to look at every player on our roster and how can we maximize each one of those players, and then how can we bring players in and continue to grow. So, but that part of it, the quarterback process and evaluating all the free agents, evaluating all the college prospects, that's a very important part of it. And not just Zach, but there's a really good group that we're going through that with right now.